Episode 15 of the Babysitters Club show is Mary Ann and the Great Romance. That's book number 30 of this book series. I'm not sure, was that the best choice for a Mary Ann book? Mary Ann's Bad Luck Mystery. That would have been a good one. I would have liked that one. What other Mary Ann books we got? Mary Ann, her cat goes missing. Oh no! And then it's this romance novel. Okay, so I guess out of the three, I would have gone with the Bad Luck Mystery. That's the superior of the three books. Mary Ann and the Great Romance is not a very good book. I really don't recommend it. I give it like a 2 out of 10 in my review because it is very much overloaded with filler. And I feel like part of that's because it's a 2-part story. Books 30 and 31 go together. And that's the only time the Babysitters Club series did that, as I can recall. I don't think they did any other 2-parters. So, but it's also notable because it's the book where Mary Ann's dad finally marries Dawn's mom. So Mary Ann and Dawn get to become stepsisters. And there was a lot of build-up to that in the book series, because this is book 30. This is a romance that's been on and off for a while. And it's never really been a huge focus of the series, because the series is focused on the girls, not their parents. But this TV series has a lot more focus on the parents, as opposed to the books, which have a lot more focus on the girls, and especially the kids. So at one point in this episode, Kristy's like, hey, maybe we could talk about babysitting? Like, we are a Babysitters Club, maybe we should babysit? Which is the same sarcastic joke I've been making in a lot of these reviews, because there's no babysitting in the Babysitters Club TV series. Okay, so I did not like the Mary Ann and the Great Romance book. It's a great title for a book, and it's a good idea to have those 2 books back to back. That's good. And they're having the episodes back to back. At the end of the episode, they're setting up for Dawn and the Wicked Stepsister by having Mary Ann and her dad move in with Dawn and her mom. And I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised with that reveal because I thought they were already living together. We've had so many scenes of Dawn and Mary Ann in a kitchen together. I kind of assumed they were living together. This episode actually surprised me by saying no, they aren't related to each other yet. So the episode starts with them assuming their parents are going to get engaged because their parents went on a romantic getaway into the woods, and they're like, oh, our parents are going to get engaged. They're such a great couple. This is wonderful. We need to show them how we're going to support them. And that was also in a previous episode where Kristy is worrying how she could best support her mother. And I really don't think that's something middle school kids do. They do not worry that much about trying to show support to their parents and making their parents feel loved. It's kind of the opposite. Middle school is it was kind of a nightmare for me as a parent, to be honest. Those kids got really, really angry. It was the COVID era too, so that did not help. That did not help at all. Anyway, getting off track. So, this leads to kind of a joke scene at a big fancy restaurant where their parents are going to make the big announcement, and multiple times they're like, oh, Mom and Dad are gonna say it! And they're not getting engaged. Dad has some weird joke thing. He's like, oh, I won the big legal case. And Mary Ann's like, oh, come on! that was funny. But this did let me question whether or not they are a perfect match, because Dawn and Mary Ann, one of them says, oh, our parents are a perfect match. But then after a scene like that, are they really a perfect match, though? They seem really clueless. It's sort of like in Frozen 2, where Kristoff keeps trying to propose to Anna, and every time he does, she misunderstands him. And it makes me think they're not a good couple, and I don't really want them to get married. And that had the same sort of effect here. Okay. So they kind of do the exact same joke at the end of the episode, as I alluded to. The end of the episode, the parents are there. They're like, we've got a big announcement. Ding, 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 big announcement. And the announcement is that the house is getting fumigated for termites. That's why Marianne and her dad are going to have to live with Dawn and her mother for the next episode. All right. So, really, the great romance is not with the parents at all. Unlike the book, it's not about a wedding. This is a Valentine's Day episode, but it kind of felt like an anti-Valentine's Day episode. Like, there were a lot of insults about how Valentine's Day is awful, and making fun of couples who are happy and supportive of each other, which was actually kind of funny. Like, Marianne and Logan go to the couples table. They sit at the couples table at lunch, and the other couples are just kind of hilarious. But at the same time, the joke is that you really shouldn't be part of a couple because it's bad. And then the perfect couple on Valentine's Day, they have like this big screaming fit and break up. It's funny. It's funny. But it's hard to do an anti-Valentine's Day episode without sounding kind of mean and bitter. That's just something that's hard to do, and that this episode definitely gave vibes like that. I feel sort of the problem is Marianne the only one with a love interest in the show? Because, in the books, Kristy has Bart, not at this point. When does Bart show up? Bart shows up, I don't know, somewhere around here in the series. So Bart's not here. Stacy has like 5 different boyfriends over the course of the series. Sam Thomas, maybe? We could have had a subplot with Stacy and Sam Thomas, right? No boyfriend for Claudia, not Jesse, Mallory, or Dawn. Dawn has some dates. Basically, every character in the series has a boyfriend at one point or another. But in the TV series, Marianne is the only one who's got a boyfriend. And they could have tried to do something with Stacy and Sam in this episode. I think that would have been a good idea, to have like 2 different love stories going on at once. That's just my personal thoughts. But because nobody else has any sort of love life or romantic interest, the Babysitters Club members aside, they're just gonna spend the day like eating pizza and making fun of romance movies. Like, they're not super jealous and wish they could be in love. There are a couple of references I didn't understand. Megxit Meghan Markle? I don't know what that is. And people talked about prefix. I have no idea what that is, and it was mentioned like 3 times. Like, okay, get mentioned once, and then there was a joke callback to it later. It's like, oh, I didn't know prefix was so expensive. And I'm like, maybe you should have gone with a suffix instead of a prefix. I don't know. So that joke totally flew over my head. Another thing they had was Wicked. They're coming up with a dream cast for who could be in a Wicked movie. And that's funny, because now there's a Wicked movie. There's 2 of them. So it's kind of fun watching this series like 4 years later. Anyway, so Valentine's Day is coming up. Logan approaches Marianne, and all his buddies are in the background cheering him on as he officially asks Marianne to be his girlfriend. Yeah! I did prefer it better, and like, Logan likes Marianne. I love how the scene with the big party where she's really scared and doesn't like it and runs away, and he's kind and supportive of her being an introvert. I like that. But I do also like all his buddies in the background cheering for him getting a girlfriend. That was cute. At first, Marianne loves being the girlfriend of Logan. She loves it, but then she doesn't like it because she has to sit at the couples table. And like I said, it was really funny, the couples table stuff. But she wishes she could be with her friends, and she also wishes she could be with her friends because they're not including her in the sleepover. And like, normally they all walk to the club meetings together, but no, they're like, ooh, Marianne has a boyfriend. We can't walk with her to club meetings now, which was weird. And when she calls them out on it, they're like, what? That's so old-fashioned and unfair. I'm like, okay, well then don't abandon her. she feels ghosted by her friends, and it's Valentine's Day, not Halloween. There should be no ghosting going on. Speaking of ghosts, there's a storyline with Karen. We get a little bit of Karen in this episode. She's just making a family tree, and she's just being creepy the whole time. She's like, "There's a ghost in our house. Who's the crying woman?" And at one point she says, "Oh, Ben Brewer, you can't put him next to Cordelia because they hated each other." And I think that contradicts Karen's Ghost, the graphic novel. Not the graphic novel, but it's a little sister book. They just made a graphic novel out of it, and I had to read it recently, so that's how I know that Karen doesn't know anything about Ben Brewer. So she would not know how he is related to Cordelia or whether or not he liked her. I don't even know who she is. But, so, good on them for including Ben Brewer's name, but getting his backstory wrong, not good, because he's the one who's supposed to be a ghost. He's the ghost that lives in the attic. So, anyway, Karen was okay in this episode. I kind of forgot the running joke with Karen is that she's super weird and creepy, and she's just supposed to be acting like Wednesday Addams, which I guess is fine. They try to make the joke that Karen talks too much, but she doesn't. But they still included a joke that Karen talks too much, which I thought was weird, because her thing is not that she talks too much, her thing is that she's creepy and weird. I noticed twice in this episode somebody shouted from off screen. First it was Andrew, and then I think it was Charlie. And I'm betting you dollars to donuts, those actors were not on set for filming. I bet they... Like, that's one way to, like, have Andrew be in the episode without actually showing him, is have him say 3 words from off screen. "Kristy, I want food." That's fine. It's fine. Marianne's feeling bad that she can't go to the sleepover because she has a Valentine's date with Logan. She decides, "Hey, I'll tell my dad and he'll forbid me from going out on a date." But his reaction was pretty funny. Like, he's like, "Give me a second," and he pulls out a bunch of cue cards so he can read them. He's like, "Marianne, I am so happy for you. You are a strong, independent young woman, and it is very nice that you are learning to assert yourself in a relationship with insert name here." It was funny. I liked that. And then the joke continues on the actual Valentine's Day. So, Marianne and Logan are just kind of awkward and don't talk to each other. They don't know what to say, which is actually pretty normal. I think that makes sense, because this is the first time she's ever dated someone. It's probably the first time he's ever dated someone. But judging from the reaction of his friends earlier, it's definitely the first time he's ever dated someone. So it makes sense that they're kind of awkward and don't know what to say. And she doesn't like it. She's like, "Oh, I liked it better when we were just friends." So they have their Valentine's Day date, but their dad and Sharon show up at the exact same place. So Marianne ends up doing a double date with her dad. I did like his line. He's like, "I thought you were going to go to the arcade or something. I didn't know you were going to an expensive dinner. Heesh." The date is so awful that Marianne wants to dump Logan, so she calls him, and he feels the same way. And so they officially break up. They decide to be just friends. We're not going to put any labels on our relationship. We're going to be more open and fluid. And that sounds like they want to date each other, but they're just too chicken to admit they're boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm sorry, but wow, was I kind of mad by that ending to the episode where it's like, whoa, you are not going to break up Marianne and Logan, the powerhouse couple of the Babysitters Club series. And they did. They went on one date and decided they're a terrible couple. And, like, Logan dates her for the entire series. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm just like, I know the TV series is not the book series, but if they did the story with a completely different character, it would be fine. If this was like Kristy and Bart, or this was, Marianne and some guy not Logan, then I'd be fine with them, like, getting together and then immediately breaking up. It's totally fine, but gosh, like, you can't have a Valentine's Day episode where the big focus is breaking up the golden couple of the series. Like, gosh. Okay. Okay, I could get a lot angrier, but I'm not. I'm not. Also, in the ending, like, Kristy's kind of walking through the house and she sees her mom who's crying in the bathroom, and her mom's really sad because her mom's going through hormone therapy in an attempt to get pregnant, and she is just feeling really confused and conflicted. She and Kristy get to have a heart-to-heart, and she has a line. She's like, I really should be talking to my husband about this instead of my daughter. And I'm like, yeah, you really should. But it wouldn't make for a good TV show, I guess, if everybody was normal and well adjusted. So, those are my thoughts on Mary Ann and the Great Romance. I like the joke parts. The comedy was excellent in this episode. I don't like the premise that the episode is all about breaking up the best couple of the Babysitter's Club series. Arguably the only good couple of the Babysitter's Club series. I don't like the parts which sound like they were written by somebody who's really bitter about the fact that they don't have a significant other. That's the sort of move that somebody who's angry and bitter would make. They're like, I don't have anybody to go out with on Valentine's Day. I'm gonna destroy Mary Ann and Logan out of spite. Did think it was weird how Dawn and Mary Ann were just assuming their parents are going to get married. I guess I'll be looking forward to the next episode, which is the sequel book, which is Dawn's Wicked Stepsister, where Dawn and Mary Ann fight with each other. And I don't think, is Jeff in this series? We haven't seen Jeff. I think he was like introduced in the episode that introduced Dawn, and I don't think we've seen him since. So where is he in all of this? Did they just send him off to California when nobody was looking? I bet that's what they did, yeah. Anyway, next episode, Dawn episode, and then we're gonna have... I looked ahead. I couldn't resist. I wanted to see which episode was gonna be the Mallory episode, because that's gonna be after that, right? You know, because it's the 7th episode of the season. That means we get to finally have the Mallory episode. There is none. There is no Mallory episode. Mallory does not get an episode. Every character gets an episode except Mallory. That is so sad. And Claudia and Kristy both get 2 episodes. And so Claudia's episode is going to be Claudia and the Sad Goodbye. It's like, oh no, I don't want the saddest Claudia book in place of a Mallory episode. That's tragic. And they're saving Kristy and the Mother's Day surprise for, or is it the baby parade? I don't know. They're saving that for the big finale, I'm sure, because we've had this story about Kristy's mom wanting to have a baby. That's got to be like the season finale, I'm sure. Okay, bye.